Today, I am going to explain you if you are joined in any project and in that project, if you implemented an application onboarding that you wanted to give it to your manager to check in that particular application in the code repository, how you are going to give it to them, I am going to explain in this video. So let's assume that you have implemented an application called as employee. So normally how we are going to give it to them, and sometimes they will ask you to give the files in that format. So I have implemented an employee application, and in that employee application, okay, I have a creation rule, and for this application I might be having aggregation task. Aggregation task. Okay, this is my employee application. Okay, this is my application and how I am going to give, so how I am going to give it to them, that point I wanted to cover here. So basically what we are going to do, so I need to, let's assume that my application is, I am working for the customer Toyota, application name is safe, and that application, whatever the file I have given, that whatever the content I kept, that particular object I am going to give it here. It means that this file, I'm going to save application object data. And here I'm going to give it in the aggregation task data. Whatever the aggregation task I have, that aggregation I'm going to give it here. So let's assume that I already kept, this is my application data. So whenever you are giving this data to your data, your team. So you need to keep, I already copied application data from here. I went to debug mode. This particular application, I want to do it. So I went to debug mode and I copied the data and I kept here. So first what you have to do, you have to remove these IDs. Okay, I am removing all these IDs. Okay. And the same way, wherever IDs is there, that you can remove it. And right now, I am removing with hand, but we have a shortcut keys. With the shortcut keys, we can remove all these IDs, modified values easily. So I removed this data and I wanted to give this file. So I'm going to save this file data here. I'm saving. Okay. And I want to give it to them, this data file. Okay, here in deployment data. So I'm going to save this data as a application data. Okay, save data. And I need to give aggregation task. This is my aggregation task. So, so I'm going to save this data. So sometimes why I am explaining this video, this approach and all, sometimes your team will tell you, hey, give me whatever the application and aggregation task and correlation, whatever you implemented, give me that in this format and all. So they will say that give this customer name here and application name here and whatever the correlation rule here. In this case, I'm giving not correlation rule, I'm giving a rule, okay, which will have the password creation rule. So creation rule. So that time, if you are not aware of this thing, though your manager is saying that, you will not be able to understand what he is talking about it. So that's the reason I am giving explanation here. Using that, you whenever you are doing it, you can easily understand what they're talking. So this is my application. If I am giving this thing, I need to give this rule also. Creation rule, creation rule. So I'm coming here and I'm giving here. creation rule. If I'm giving this one thing, I'm going to copy this thing and I'm keeping here. And I kept here and this is the way I'm going to give it to deployment. So when you do this thing, once you do this thing, so what they are going to give and do that. So you're going to give it to this thing. I'm just giving you more information. So this is the way you are going to give it. Why I'm explaining this data, this thing and all. So long back when I joined on project, my manager was I have implemented application onboarding. Okay, for one application. That time he was asking, give me applications and aggregation tasks like this format. That time I was not having a genuine experience. I was not able to correlate what he was trying to explain. So I want to some of you not to have that kind of problem. So that's the reason I'm explaining. Once you view this thing, what they are going to do it, they do have one setup called SSB. They do have one setup called as SSB. So SSD will be there. SSD, SSB will be there. In that SSD and SSB, there will be folder called as application will be there. In application folder, they keep all applications like this, whatever I given, right? Like this, all the team members given application, all application, XML, they are going to keep it in that folder. And the same way, rules are there. Whatever the rules we have given, all the team members has given, all rules information, they are going to keep it over there. Okay. And application, they kept it aggregation task. So basically, we are going to keep in that task definition. I'm going to keep it in the task definition. So they'll be having a folder. Literally, they'll be having a one folder is their SSP. That folder, they are going to keep it here. And they'll be running they will be running the build, and with that the build what is going to do, it is going to create one jar file, identityIQ.var file it is going to create. So based on the customer name, the build name will be changed. So finally, this kind of var file is going to give generated by their build team. This file they will take it and deploy into their different versions. So this is the way deployment is going to taken care. So like these videos, like this approach, I wanted to share more real-time information with all the students. And if you like this video, please like it. And so you can crack this answers. And when you're doing a job also, that time you can easily understand what your manager is saying. I want to share more and more knowledge hereafter. Thank you so much once again.